Welcome to Brave New Bookshelf, a podcast that explores the fascinating intersection of AI and authorship. Join hosts Steph and Danica Favorite as they dive into thought-provoking discussions, debunk myths, and highlight the transformative role of AI in the publishing industry.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Brave New Bookshelf. Once again, I'm Steph Pajonas. I'm the CTO and COO of Future Fiction Academy, where we teach authors how to use AI in every part of their process. And with me today, I have my lovely co-host, as always, Danica Favorite. How are you, Danica?
I'm Danica Favorite, and I'm an author and the community manager at Publish Drive. Together, we're just here having our fun little AI adventure. I know by the time this podcast launches, it'll be a little bit older news, but I think we are all excited about the new OpenAI developments. And so I'm feeling pretty good. Like, I am glad that we're here talking about AI, but part of me is, can I go play yet? I know you got to do some playing yesterday, though, Steph.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, that this new OpenAI model is called 4.0, and it's actually an O. It's not a 0, which I had to look it up because it stands for Omni. It has all of these really cool like video and voice features. You can talk to it and it can talk back and it can look through your camera at things. And then it's also doing a really good job with a lot of the fiction prompts I've been throwing at it. It's doing a great job with outlining and coming up with better emotional beats within chapters and whatnot. So I'm excited to play around with it a little bit more. It'll definitely be fun to play with in the future.
Yeah. I think that's always the challenge, is that the play is so much fun. So
yes.
Yeah. So today we have our wonderful guest, Sana, and she is amazing. I met her over a year ago now. I should say that because we were just talking before we started recording. The first video series I did with her, she was teaching a class on using AI for marketing, and she had a 7-day-old baby, which was amazing. And now she was just saying her baby is 14 months old and walking around. And it just goes to show how much time flies. We've been seeing you a lot in the AI space and all the cool things you're doing with AI and video and marketing. And I know you have all kinds of cool tricks up your sleeve. So now why don't you tell us more about yourself and what you're doing with AI, because we're here for it.
Thank you, Danica, for the introduction. And thank you to both you, Danica, and Steph for inviting me to be on this podcast. It's a pleasure to be here. And I love you too and the things you've been doing in the AI space. So it's really awesome to be able to have this conversation about the things I think all of us are really excited about coming up in the space. So what I do is I help authors do more effective marketing online. And in the last 14 months, give or take, I've been doing more and more of, hey, let's use AI to help you guys get out there more. And in that process, I found my way to people with their video marketing. So a bit about me in terms of my career, in which I've worked in a lot of industries, including a very long stint in the San Francisco Bay Area in tech and games, was all about helping people and brands tell better stories to connect with their ideal audiences. And so in the process, I've done a lot of sales, business development, marketing. And when it comes to books, I'm one of those people who likes the books that aren't necessarily the ones with a big publishing budget behind it on the bestseller list. I've often found that the things that I love the most don't make it through the social media algorithm, right? Because authors are often the ones that I really like are busy writing their next book, or even if they're not, they don't have the budget or the time to be spending a lot of time doing marketing, let alone video marketing, right? And that's where AI became very exciting to me, because within an hour, authors can actually generate quality video, teasers, trailers, scissor reels that are on par often with what Hollywood can produce. And I will say that there's an author, I think, in Steph, in your Facebook group, who used to be from the filmmaking world, who will say, no, think about it, like compared to people who have those movie deals and those TV deals, and they go out there with any kind of sizzle reel. There's a whole team of actors and writers and script writers and animators, right? Getting those kinds of video promotional content out there. Whereas now, in an hour, you can do something that gets enough of a sizzler out there for the right people to be attracted to your book. So that got me really excited. And I started talking about it in your Facebook group, Steph, and people are like, hey, I want to learn this. I'm like, okay, I'll teach it. I'll figure it out and teach you. And that led to the camera-free TikTok Stardom course, which is the main thing that I've been doing with authors these days. And there's been a lot of really slow authors playing around with it, although not everyone wants their name out there with, hey, I've been doing these things, I've been playing with AI. So, but it's been exciting to see the things they've developed with some of the concepts we teach. So yeah, that's me and what I've been doing.
Your TikTok stuff that you're doing with the idea of not having to put your face on TikTok, because I think a lot of authors are hesitant about being on camera themselves. And so I think it's really clever that you are able to give them this tool and teach them how to do it without having to be on camera and put their face on camera. And I really like that approach. What made you think of that?
It was literally like people sending me messages in the Facebook group saying like, I love this, but I don't want to be on camera. And I'm like,
Okay.
you thought about deep faking? Well, yes, but someone almost scammed me, so I don't want to do deep faking. I'm like, well, you don't have to deep fake yourself, right? Or a celebrity. How about your characters? And so they're like, I never thought of that. What might that look like? Hey, my brain doesn't work that way. Explain that a bit more. Give me examples. It led to the concept that I have of like the 10 video types that authors can use to promote their books, which do not show their face and anyone can do them and you don't have to be on camera and AI can help you generate that. And that's something that I have a link to like give away to whoever who's listening to the podcast or wants a copy of. And that just really helped people be like, oh, okay, I get this now. Now help me think through how this would work for my genre or how do I ideate this? So yeah, happy to talk about that and also some of the tools because I do think, I know that's one of the questions you guys often ask is like, tools in the AI workflow. And I'm like, yes, I have my favorite for this, this, and this. I don't have one favorite, but I have like 7 favorites for the different parts of everything that I do.
This is so smart because as you can see now with a lot of the social media, especially Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, everything is moving towards video, right? Video, audio. They want it to be an immersive experience. And I think it's smart that authors think outside of just text, obviously, just text. And our book covers is where we start, right? We start with our vision there. And then to move outside of that into more audio, more visual, let's talk about our characters and music and these sorts of things, because it becomes then an immersive experience for the reader. So I find this very, very smart. I love it.
Yeah, so let's go ahead since you teased it, the questions that we're going to be asking you. Let's just start with the first question. How are you approaching AI in publishing? What got you into this and thinking about your approach of how does AI in publishing connect?
I think I sort of answered that already, but like, for example, think about your TV shows, right? There's always this cliffhanger that makes you want to watch the next episode. Especially think about if you watch the ads or the what's coming up this week, there's a setup which is not necessarily a camera just on one character from the same shot, right? And it gets you curious and you want to know what happens next. And so for me, a lot of like AI and video was like, what could that look like for some of the books that I've read that I love? What could it look like for some of the authors whose books I come across, including some that at random I see your Facebook group talking and I end up reading the book and I'm like, oh yeah, I could see this working. Can I make a video for you? And they're like, yeah, sure. Okay. And so a lot of it is about like, how do you combine enough about theme into like a visual medium and do that using AI. And so for some of the authors, they've already been playing around with image and character art. They're like, yeah, the book doesn't really often describe a character description so much, but I've generated this stuff in Midjourney and some of these other image generators. What else, right? And so for me, it's like, okay, how do I now take enough of that to make people want to read more about the book? Or if I really love the book, or I've seen in the reviews again and again something that the readers really love about the book, how does more of that come across to people? And then I have a series of different prompts that I have AI give me more. And then usually I throw most of it out and then choose one part of its output and then run with that. So I don't know if that answers your question. I think I might have gone a bit more detailed to the workflow than you may have wanted.
Yeah, no, I think it's great because obviously the next question I'm going to ask you is about workflow. But what I wanted to say that I found really great about your answer and your approach is a lot of authors come to the AI conversation and like they may automatically think, oh, I don't want AI to write my books. That's just a tiny piece of what AI is doing. And what you're doing is you're coming at it from a purely marketing standpoint. And I love that you're doing that because I don't know about you, Steph, but at least for me in the author conversations I'm having is authors really struggle with marketing. So I love this approach because it's just showing like this wide breadth of what AI is and what it can do. And it isn't just one thing. People can take the pieces that work for them and that are intriguing to them and use it.
I agree. I think that the thing I hear from most people is that their pain point is marketing, advertising, these sorts of things. They're concentrating on the book and the contents of the book and their stories and their story worlds, and then throw their hands up in the air when it comes time to market it or even sell it, or sometimes even talk about it. Sometimes authors are very introverted and shy, and they have trouble just even mentioning their book to other people. So this kind of stuff is really important because we, as authors, and most of them self-published, we have to understand the market and how to get our books out to readers. We want our books to be read, right? So it's really important to understand marketing. And this is one of the reasons why I really love hearing from Sanaa this kind of stuff, because like she got into AI really early, which is important. So she understood a lot of the trials and tribulations of working with AI right from the get-go. And she has a super creative mindset when it comes to this kind of stuff. She was thinking outside of the box over a year ago on some of these really cool things. I loved the stuff that she brought to the AI Writing for Authors group about thinking larger about your characters and your universe and bringing those forward to readers. So I love the fact that you've gone into your workflow a little bit for us, because that's really helpful.
Yeah. So that is the next question is what does your workflow with AI look like? You've given us some hints. You've given us a few little pieces. I know you talked about your sheet that you're going to have for our listeners to be able to download from our website. But if you could just go into some of the steps and the ideas of how that would work. Like, I have a book. How do I go about taking that book and marketing it and getting AI to give me some marketing tools or pieces that I can use to make that book really shine?
Authors are, like you said, introverted and maybe don't want to talk about their book and whatnot. When it comes to at least TikTok marketing, what a lot of authors then do is they're like, okay, now how do I promote my book? So they go out there, they search by their genre on TikTok, and they see a lot of videos of books flying open with the tropes written as text overlay on top. And they're like, okay, let me do this. And then they are like, why am I stuck in a limited number of views? Why is this view count just not going up? And it doesn't feel good to me because I look and sound like everyone else who's there. And why can't I be like that leader in my genre who is getting views, right? And some of what's happening is the reader is just fatigued by those kinds of TikTok. So they're just seeing the same thing over and over every time they search their hashtag. People would then say, hey, I just like scroll past it quickly because if I end up seeing it, TikTok shows me more of it. I'm tired of seeing that kind of stuff. So then people start looking for different types of content. And when you actually add like AI video or something that looks like a Hollywood produced quality trailer, it changes what it looks like. And then you can actually be a lot more unique than just the book flying open or a bookshelf and all of these things, because each of the different AI video tools, not only is it growing in terms of the special effects that you can provide and catch people's attention with the hook, etc., there's just so much that's unique to your book. So, for example, the time travel author, she has this main protagonist who always has this talisman, right? Now, there's so many cool things you can do with that talisman in AI and video. You can make it rotate, you can make it look amazing, you can have like music that sets up the intrigue, all these different things using things which are unique to her book. And now authors can do that in AI, which they couldn't before. Like, it would take forever to find an animator to animate it just the way you want, with just the right kind of music that feels right to present your story, right? It would not be an hour-long process. It would be a team of people and a couple of months. So that's one of the things why I'm so excited about some of the video and related to video AI tools out there.
Yeah, it is super helpful because I think that was always a pain point for me. I do have a TikTok account. I don't recommend anyone follow it because I haven't posted anything there in a couple of years and it was terrible. But again, it's the same things that you are talking about in terms of I don't have the technical skills or know-how in terms of making those videos. So to have someone like you who can say, "Hey, no, it's super easy now. Let me show you." I think that's so valuable to authors who've been wanting to dip their toe in or feel like they really do want to do video content and just have no idea where to start. So this is great. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah. Now, to answer your workflow question, there's a couple of different parts. The first is the idea generation, which is where I go back to AI. So, what I do is I have prompts design where I take the book blurb, the whatever the author has written on Amazon views, especially the ones where readers are like, hey, this particular thing really resonated with me, which doesn't show up in the big book blurb. Often I think for authors, like they write a great book, but they may forget or may not necessarily even think something is important, which the readers absolutely loved, right? And that shows up in the reviews. I take those things in, put it in the prompt. I give it the 10 video types, which is in that downloadable that I mentioned to you. I say, hey, these are the 10 video types. Now, based on this genre, create a scroll stopping TikTok video that will be 30 to 60 seconds long. Give me a 1 to 2 sentence description of what that could be. And it generally gives me ideas back. And then once it gives me that back, I look at what strikes out to me for the story and the theme and what I know about the potential readers. And I pick an idea. And then from there, and there's a further bit of, okay, let's now storyboard this. What could the storyboarding look like? And AI tends to be like giving me fancy ideas of storyboards. I'm like, no, keep in mind the limitations of AI tools. And I can say, hey, these are the particular tools we're going to use. Be aware of their restrictions. And then based on that, narrow down ideas further. And then from there, I go to storyboarding. Now, I tend to like storyboarding just with sentences because I'm a bit more text and verbal person. But in the course, and because I think a lot of people like a visual storyboard, there are AI tools that you can use for storyboarding as well. So you would use that text description and actually just write it in prompt style within certain tools. And they then spit out images that helps you, the author, think through like, oh, this is what the video could look like frame by frame. So it's kind of like a PowerPoint slideshow of what that video could look like. And it gives you pretty decent images to get started with. Or you can just go to the next step, which is what I usually do because I want to have more control over the images. I drop like the line by line storyboard I have into an Excel sheet and then think through, okay, this is the image I want. This is what I might want to animate with it. Get the images first, get them looking good, and then think through the animation. And from there, think through any sound effects, what the captions would look like, so on. And then once I animate everything, drop all of that to a video editor. CapCut more and more these days. Used to be Canva, but then Canva does something funny where it doesn't let you trim the videos so easily.
I love this. I feel like you're creating a movie. It's Hollywood just in your little computer. So much fun.
And here's what I really love that you pointed out as you were talking through your process and your course and everything that so many authors I see who are like, I put this into AI and it didn't work because you threw in one prompt and expected a really good video. And what you're showing and what you're explaining is it really is an entire workflow. It's not just throw something into AI and get a good result. It is really taking the time to craft something. And I really appreciate that about you because I think that what this tells me is it really is a craftsmanship kind of process.
Yeah, the beauty is that a lot of authors are so good at text and they know the feel their book has. They have a feeling and a visual in mind. And now you, the author, are taking control of what that looks like, right? Because you can see it right then and there and be like, nah, this is not quite what I had in mind. You can see that. Whereas if you were to work with a team of people, you'd have to make sure that that team of people really, really understands what you're about and what your story's about and what you want to put out there to your ideal reader. So it shortens the whole having, really quick outputs that tell you if you're going the right place or not. What AI video tools are good for right now is what in the world of filmmaking you'd call a cinematograph. So these are still images who are slightly animated and move from a short clip to another one, a different shot, different image. There's all these little tricks that people could do in a 30 to 60 second long video, which is what a lot of what I recommend for TikTok and for most short form stuff. That's fairly easy to do. You just have to do a little bit of thinking of what's artificial. And then, of course, Steph, you've pointed out the hands, which used to be my favorite thing to show like romance and emotion. And you're like, yeah, no, people are just going to blow this up and realize there's 6 fingers in there. And that one looks painful. And I'm like, oh, okay, move away from the hands. So I don't use the hands as much anymore in these. So there's just some limitations of AI you have to keep in mind to make these things a little bit more like a movie.
And that technology is getting better. I don't see as many 6-finger hands anymore, which is nice. Yeah, I felt bad in the past being like, no, I'm sorry. They're going to zoom in and see that there's 6 fingers there and you're not going to be able to make that one work. Try something different. The technology is getting better all the time. And I can't wait to see how things are going to be like 6 months from now. Just the leaps in technology are astounding at this point.
That video and the one I did after that, I found like this was when the Sora announcements were going on, and there was like a new tool that's like, oh, this is the level of Sora. And I was just playing with it for the next video I generated. And this particular book had an orchid, and I basically said, hey, show hummingbird near the purple orchid. And the wings of the hummingbird was so freaking realistic, generated in that 2-second clip. And I was like, yeah, if I just do this, it's exciting when those kinds of things happen.
It is exciting. And I know since we've breezed over some of the tools, let's get into the tool question. I know you have a bunch of favorite tools, so I want to give you time to tell us, what are your favorite tools and for what are you using them?
So for image generation, I'm a little bit boring. DALL-E is, for me, the easiest one. Is Brainworks. I have had author students send in things that they generated with Leonardo and Midjourney, and for me to add into sort of the animations and things. Because this is one of the things that I give to like students, at least right now, is like if you send in your character art and your book description, I will generate a video for you. And so a lot of people end up sending their character, which I can do fun things with. For video generation, the one that and let me make sure I spell this right, because I am forever going in and getting this one wrong and having to go back into my browser. So it's hyper.ai. And so this is the one that has really amazing video quality. When it first came out, there was all this buzz around Sora. It's like, okay, this kind of gives us a Sora could be like if they were to release it right now, right? This had a lot more physics and realism. It's top on my favorites. Runway to ML. Everyone's heard of that. What it does really well is, and it's not something I haven't seen a lot of people using, is you can have like a golf ball going down towards its hole. You can have text following it. So that's something you can do. And sound effects, I like myedit.online is the name. So that's what I rate sound effects. Cleanup of images, clip drop. I think a lot of people use that one. This is taking my 6 fingers and other random artifacts that the images themselves would have. And it's easier to edit in this rather than once you have the video generated, because then you have to do in painting and masking. And again, a Runway does that quite well, but it's just more time you end up using. Song generation. This is one I never thought I'd be talking about, but the last book that I was thinking about doing a video for, the author had generated lyrics for a song. So she was writing a book about an author who was using AI, and she had a song in there because that's the other thing the author in the book ended up doing was like singing songs. And so I was like, huh. And that's around the time Odeo was competing with Suno, so I played with both. And Odeo is pretty good. That's UEIO. And I used her lyrics and I generated a pretty amazing song of 5 minutes. Those are some of the tools I like for different parts of my workflow. CapCut has, just like Descript has a caption and transcription, CapCut does that, which helps a lot when you have these videos generated, because you may be using 11 Labs or something to generate the voiceover. You can now then have captions of the voiceover very easily with a click of a button, because it's also using AI to transcribe it really quickly for you.
I used Suno or Udio, and I can't remember now, for the opening music for this very podcast. I was like, I need some music. I'll just go have AI do it. So fun.
Yeah. For me, I was a little I think you saw this video. It was the one where it started with a plane crash, right? I could not find the sound effect on regular stock sound effects sites at all. And so that's when I discovered my edit for the sound effect generation. I was like, this is amazing. Like, I could just keep changing the text prompts. I get what I want. And I felt so powerful. This stuff makes me feel really powerful. I can generate movies, short trailers, but still.
I know. It's just so much fun. You could get lost in it for hours.
Yeah, I realized in this process that while I've read a lot of books in my life, I watched a lot of TV and I watched a lot of movies. And I never realized that until I started making these videos, but apparently I pay a lot of attention to the recaps and the synopsis and the trailers. So for me, teaching authors how to do this, sharing, hey, these are the ways you can tease your process. And it was also a lot of, hey, and these are the little tricks that filmmakers or TV producer or directors often use to get you hooked that you should be using when you're trying to get people hooked. And so it's been a lot of fun to take that theory and be able to say, and this is how you can now execute that within minutes using the different tools that AI gives you.
Yeah, I'm glad that you pointed that out. And one of the things I was thinking about with the whole plane crash sound effects and all of that stuff, that I think that we underestimate what is available out there. Like, no one has a literal recording of a plane crash. That would be creepy and wrong. But when you need it for a video, you have that ability with AI. And it's so cool that you're bringing that perspective because I'll be honest, I don't usually watch the trailers. That's my cue to get a snack. And so the fact that you have that skill and are looking for that, I really love that because I think that's something that authors really need to take a look at. And now that you've said this, I probably still going to get a snack, but I might pay more attention to the trailers now.
I don't know about you, but maybe the trailers you're not paying attention to is because when you're at a movie theater, a lot of the things they're showing you previews for, you may not really care about, right? Whereas we're on social media, at least they're searching for those kinds of books. They care about those genres a little bit more, right? And so maybe that's why they're already giving a little bit more mind, but like of 3 seconds more of a mind, right? So the first 3 seconds, you really have to hook them, especially if you want them to just watch that 30, 60-second video. So that hook in those 3 seconds, just like you need to have like a hook in your book description, blurb and whatnot, you got to have a hook for that video. And that's why the sound effects, the initial image, the what happens right in the first like 3 seconds really, really matters, is because that's what grabs people or doesn't grab them. And then they go get a snack or scroll past you or whatever it is.
Excellent points. I'm just sitting here, even though I'm recording this podcast with you, I'm like, okay, I need to go back and listen and take notes because this is really fantastic marketing in terms of video stuff and psychology behind it because there is that psychology. I didn't even think of, oh, yeah, like I went to get a snack because that trailer didn't catch my attention. But if I'm on social media searching for something, then I'm more likely to watch. And so, like, figuring out those little triggers is really, really powerful. So I am so glad that you're here and sharing all of this because I think a lot of authors are going to listen and be like, oh, yeah, wow, yeah, this is good. This is definitely going to be something I personally am going to re listen to.
Same, I agree. And I'm hoping that I can learn a little bit and then go apply it in my own business as well.
Yeah, I love that. Like I said, I cannot thank you enough for being here today because so many good pieces of information. Is there anything else that you want to leave us with or any last thoughts before we sign off for today?
Yeah, so I would say video types would be really helpful, I think, for most authors to think through, because they're probably like hearing all this, be like, all right, that I think I can think of a blur, but what else, right? And so there's so much more. There's 9 other book trailers, just the first one. So it's bit.ly/author AI video. So you can tell me where to send it and it will to you automatically. And I think that would be a great place to start for folks if you're curious at all about like video marketing and how video marketing could work for you as an author.
That's great. We'll put the link in our show notes, which is on bravenewbookshelf.com. Do you have a website or any place you want us to send people to?
Yeah, so the bit.ly link will send to the website. And then also for 100 listeners who are coming through that, if you use the coupon BRAVE, you'll get 30% off, of course. So whatever price it is at the time that you listen to this, if you're one of the first 100. So that's another option. If you're like, okay, now great idea, learn how to put it together, check out the course. It's on sanachoudary.com/shop. And just look for the camera-free TikTok startup course. And yeah, BRAVE is the coupon code. So just go ahead and put in BRAVE and you'll get 30% off.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here today. We love talking to you about this because this is a whole other side to publishing that a lot of people just don't think about. AI is not just text, it's not just book covers or any of these sorts of things. It's also multimedia. And I'm really excited by the fact that you came here today to tell us about that.
Yep, me too. When you agreed to come on, I was pretty excited because, like I said, this is really not an area a lot of authors are exploring. They just say, oh, video marketing is too hard, and you make it so simple. I really hope that authors will be encouraged by this and realize that they don't have to do this alone. And there are tools that can help them. And you've given some fantastic tools. So I'm really glad that you're here today. So thank you again. And we really appreciate you.
All right, and that's it for today on this Brave New Bookshelf podcast. We're excited that Danica could be here for today, and definitely come to the website and check out the show notes so that you can click on that link and check out her course. And hopefully we will be back next week with lots more about AI and publishing. Thank you so much for coming today, Sana, and my awesome co-host Danica for being here and asking all the questions. I love the fact that she does that for me. Have a good week, everybody. Bye from Brave New Bookshelf.
Thanks for joining us on the Brave New Bookshelf. Be sure to like and subscribe to us on YouTube and your favorite podcast app. You can also visit us at bravenewbookshelf.com, sign up for our newsletter, and get all the show notes.